Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, which I know a ton of you are, thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thank you guys for joining my little family. For those who are just joining, my name is Esmeralda Vicencio. I have a little bit of both of those in my YouTube username, which is viceesme. That's what that means and that's how you say it. I'm 21 years old and I live in the LA County in California. So that's who I am. Today I am doing an Esme's Corner. I am doing a things you should know before you go to college. I've noticed that a lot of you guys that were entering my giveaway were saying that you guys were going to college, and a lot of you guys are a little younger than that. But anyway, this video is a little bit geared more towards college. These are more of college advices. I want to say there may be a few here and there that might apply to all ages, but I'm just putting a disclaimer that the majority of them are for college. The drink of today is an iced coffee. It's a homemade iced coffee that I literally saw my mom do the other day and I was like, what the heck? I've never seen her do that. So I tried it out today. Let me insert the clip of me making it. Okay, so I'm gonna be doing my iced coffee in this cup that I got from Bando, and I'm gonna put one pretty hefty, I guess, big to medium spoon of coffee. Actually, I think I'm gonna put more since it's an iced coffee. I've only seen my mom do this recipe once, so I don't know if I'm gonna do this right. So then she put hot water so that it can dissolve the coffee, only enough to cover it. Then I'm gonna mix it, because with cold water it would not dissolve. Then we're gonna put a splash of half and half. Not a splash, a little bit. Then I'm gonna put some milk. That's why I put so much coffee, because it's kind of a lot of milk. Then a little bit of French vanilla. I usually put hazelnut, but we don't have that right now, so yeah. Mix it all up. And the last ingredient is some ice. And we're done. So that's what's in my cup, a little homemade iced coffee. So I have a list on my phone of the things I'm going to talk about. But before I get into this list, I'm going to talk a little bit about my college history. So if you don't really care about that and you just want to hear the tips, go to this time right here. Skip all of me talking about myself. For those of you that want to listen to me, let me tell you a little bit about my college experience, or more so like kind of where I'm at in a way, just a little bit of history, whatever. So I got accepted into Cal State Fullerton, which is in the city of Fullerton, in 2014. And so I've been there for 4 years now. So the first year that I started, I had to choose my schedule like the day of orientation. So I went to orientation, and that same day I had to choose my schedule, and I was like, this is not cool. I knew that my schedule wasn't set in stone, but I wanted to make it right, and I was like stressing out over it. And so bottom line was that my schedule was not good. I had classes only Tuesday and Thursday from like 8 in the morning to like 7 in the night. And I had like a lot of big breaks, and that might be fine for some people. But for me, as a first year, like trying to just like get the hang of things, I didn't really do so well picking my schedule. And then to top it off, I took a class which was like way too hard for me. And by the time I decided I wanted to drop, not only did I not know how to drop the class, it was too late for me. So basically I stopped going because I was like, well, I mean, I think that if he sees that I'm not there, he's gonna drop me, my teacher at the time. And as a freshman, you're like so scared to ask anybody, like you don't really want to ask. And then so that really messed me up, like as a start, if that makes sense. And then my next semester, I didn't do so well in my classes, and the transition from high school to college was one that I didn't really expect was going to affect me, but it definitely did. The idea of being constrained in a class to going to, you have to go to your own classes and nobody's gonna tell you to go, was like, it was like, if I don't want to go, I'm not gonna go. And that was my attitude for like the first 2 years of college. So literally sometimes when I didn't want to go to my math class, I remember one specific day so vividly. I didn't go to my math class because I was out in the quad watching one of my favorite Netflix shows, Dexter, and I think like I wasn't done with the episode, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay out here and finish the episode as opposed to going to class. Like, can you just imagine how ridiculous that is? Like, that is such a waste of my time, money, effort. Like, I'm already there at school and I'm not even going to class. Like, I'm just sitting in the quad. That mindset is trash. Like, I can't believe I even got to that point, honestly. So basically, because of that, I lost my financial aid, and that is what woke me up. I was like, oh hell no, I have no money to pay for college. Like, I was getting help from financial aid. So with that being said, I kind of went through like a really low point, and that's basically what has pushed me to where I am in a way. That really like triggered something in my head that I was like, I need to stop playing around. Like, not everybody has the same opportunity as me. Like, there's so many people that they really want to get an education and they don't have the help that I do, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what like backtracked my graduation date and everything. So I just completed my 4th year and I'm entering my 5th year, so I will be graduating next semester. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so these tips that I'm going to tell you guys are basically things that I wish somebody would have told me as I entered college. And or some of them are kind of common sense, but sometimes it just takes somebody else to tell you for it to really like stick in your brain, you know what I mean? I don't know why that is, but that's just the deal for some people. So that's what I'm here for today, to tell you guys these tips in hopes that you guys don't go through what I did. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into, as opposed to just jumping in the waters. You don't know how to swim. Like, you're going in with like a floaty, you know what I mean? So hopefully these tips help you guys out, and let's just get into the tips. The first tip I have here is make sure you understand your TDA. That's what we call it. I'll explain a little bit right now. So at Cal State Fullerton, we have something called the Titan Degree Audit. Titan is just like our mascot, that's why we have that. But I don't know if maybe what you guys have is an audit. I don't know what it's called, but basically it's like an outline online in your like student center portal, whatever, that tells you like, this is your major, these are the classes you need to graduate, and then it shows you kind of like checked off. So for example, if you're already like 1 or 2 years in, a bunch of those classes are already checked off, but a bunch of them aren't, so you can see what you've taken and what you need to take. So my tip for that is understand it, and if you don't, you need to talk to a counselor or somebody who does understand it, because that thing is like basically like a blueprint, like a freaking map for you to graduate. And if you don't understand that, you're gonna be taking classes you don't need. You're gonna be taking classes twice possibly. Like, that thing is super important. I was lucky enough to have my friend Anna Karen for like the past 2 years double check my TDA, which is what I was talking about, and just help me out and tell me like, oh no, you see this class, if you take this class, it'll count for this and this. That way you don't need to take 2 classes and you take 1 for both requirements. So understanding that is critical. When you get into college, you'll definitely understand what I mean by that audit, but like I said, make sure you understand that. The next tip is to have some substitution classes. So this basically means that before you have your like date to choose your classes, you're gonna have like your top 4 or 5 classes, and then you put them in, and let's say 3 of your classes go perfectly, you're in them, and then the 4th class is full, and let's say you just can't get into that class, but you need 1 more class to fit into that schedule. It's always good to have like a substitution class, aka like your next requirement maybe, in order to replace it. Because once you look at your schedule and you really like the way it is, and that 1 class is messing you up, instead of switching around your whole schedule for 1 class that you don't even know if you're gonna get, find another class that's in that time slot that you can still take. That way you don't mess everything else up, because I know with work it's really hard to just be crazy moving around everything. So have a substitution or a few substitution classes in mind. The next tip might not be for everybody, but I thought this was kind of cool, and I didn't think about this till like my 3rd year there, is basically to take a fitness class. In our school they're called kinesiology courses. I think they're called kinesiology courses everywhere. But anyway, take a class, because not only will you stay active, but it'll be for a grade, so you won't want to really miss or anything like that. It's kind of like a mandatory like training class. It's in your schedule, so you can't be like, oh my god, like I don't have time to work out, blah blah blah. You can definitely, if you have the space to, put one of those kinesiology classes in. Not only are you gonna get a workout in, but it's gonna add an extra credit like down the line, if that makes sense. So for example, at our school, most of the kinesiology courses are only 1 credit, which might seem like, why would you even do that? But if you have time and if you keep taking them, by the end of the semester, like other people might be missing like 1 or 2 credits to graduate, you will have your like credits stacked up, if that makes sense. So that's like 2 of the main reasons why I would recommend taking a fitness class. Is basically you can choose a super fun class to get a workout in, and you'll stack up your credits as you keep taking them over the courses of the semester. The next one will go into play with the first one that I said, which is basically don't be afraid to talk to a counselor. This one might be hard, especially because some counselors require appointments and or their walk-ins might take too long. But listen, basically before every semester, let's say you already have your schedule all planned out. Right as you have your schedule, make an appointment to go with the counselor. That way they can double check it. And basically you'll feel way more confident going into the semester knowing that your counselor like approved it, as opposed to going into the semester like, I don't even know if this class fits, I don't even know if this class is a requirement, and that will just definitely eliminate any second guessing. You need to treat it like something super important. You like put it into your head that that is as important as like making a freaking like doctor's appointment. Like you need to make time for it, because that will really help you out in the long term, knowing that you're actually taking classes that you need. Girl, I need a sip. The next one is kind of like part of one of my little stories that I said earlier. The tip is to go to class even though the professor tells you that attendance does not affect your grade, okay? This is very important. Number 1, you never want to miss classes because God forbid something happens throughout the semester that you just need to take a day off. And another reason is you just don't want to miss any vital information. You never know any information that the teacher's gonna say that one day that you happen to be gone. I hardly never really like care when they say that anymore, because I'm gonna try my best to be there every single class. Like I only want my absences to be for super extreme reasons. I always save them. I'm saying that I save them because for the most part, so you get to have like 2 unexcused absences. You don't even need to tell them why, and if they count you absent at the end of the day, it won't affect your grade. So that's what I'm talking about, saving them. So the next tip I have for you guys is to wait a week before buying your textbooks. This is really important because when I first started, I was like super noob. Basically a week before school, or even earlier depending, the teacher already has the book requirement that they want you to buy before you even start class. So me being the noob that I was, I went out and I bought every single book without even having been to my class yet. So I would get to class, you know, I was all cool, I had my little book already, just for the teacher to tell me like, oh, sorry you guys, the bookstore got it wrong, that's not the one I want the 6th edition, not the 7th edition. Like that was so stressful. But the bottom line to this is don't buy them yet, because sometimes after like reading the syllabus or after talking to the teachers, you won't even need them, because sometimes the bookstore wants them to put a book requirement even though they're not going to use it. So once you're in class, they're like, hey guys, don't buy the book, we're not going to use it, blah blah blah. So you already know like, okay, I don't need that one, I need this one, I need this one. So always just go to class at least the first day. Do not buy the book, kind of see the syllabus, see what the teacher says about the book, and then you guys can decide whether you need it or not. A few websites that I have used to buy books is Chegg. That one is super good. It's probably like my go-to. I always compare it though, because sometimes it's not the best one, but that's like my top one that I go to is Chegg. And then the next one is obviously Amazon, because you can also rent books there. Another thing is I recommend renting them because they are usually cheaper, but if you want, you can totally buy them. That's totally up to you. If you want to keep it, that's totally fine. If you don't have the money for that, and if you don't really care to keep them, go ahead and rent them. You have both of those options at both of those websites, Chegg and Amazon. And a little bonus is Chegg always sends like the cutest little things. Like they'll send like a random little samples of like, I've gotten like laundry detergent, I've gotten like granola bars, and they're very like student friendly. So they have like a lot of cool things on the website. They even have like a study thing, but I never purchased that thing. But anyway, don't buy your books until the first week. This next one I think is really important. This one really helped me out, and I still follow this rule to this day. The tip is, if you get distracted easily, for example texting, Instagram, whatever, Snapchat on your laptop, sit in the front row. Now I know it might sound kind of weird and awkward to sit right in front of the teacher, but it has its perks. Sitting in the front will prevent you from wanting to check your phone because you know that the teacher's gonna look at you, so you won't really want to pull out your phone or anything, especially if they have like a no phone policy. And then you don't really have anybody to distract you. So I remember one time I sat in the back and I was like watching other people do stuff on their laptop and they were distracting me, and I wasn't even doing anything, but I was like looking at what they were doing as opposed to looking at the teacher. So you're in the front and you have like no distractions. That one is like super helpful for me. I always aim for the front seat, or if you can't get the front seat, the second seat is like the second row is totally fine. The point is for you to not get distracted by anything, not a person, not your phone, not your laptop. And another thing that might add on to this is that the professor will recognize you, so that will really come into play. If you ever need to talk to them about something, they'll know that you're sitting in the front all the time and pretty much recognize your face. My next tip is, I was gonna say it's basically for commuters, but even if you live on campus or nearby, I definitely recommend for you to take lunch, okay? So I know that some campuses have some pretty good places to eat, but buying food like Panda Express sounds better than taking a sandwich. But let me just tell you, it will add up. And you don't want to have that as an expense. You can spend 20-30 bucks buying groceries, making yourself some sandwiches for the week, as opposed to spending $8 every day you go just to buy like a Panda bowl. You know what I mean? So definitely spend some time to buy some groceries and make some lunch for the week. That will definitely help you reduce the cost of food. Being a college student is hard, and you don't want to be spending all of your hard-earned money if you're working on lunch. Like, you want to be spending it on yourself. My next tip is one of my favorites. Basically, get a freaking agenda, okay? I cannot stress this enough, especially when you're in college, because you do not want to miss not one assignment, not one event, not one thing because you forgot. Like, how ridiculous is that? Like, you need to have your stuff organized. You need to have a place to write everything down, whether it's a little calendar with the month's view, that's perfectly fine, or a daily like agenda that you can write down what you did in every single class, and you can write down your homework. Like, you need to have some sort of tool to help you out during school, because trust me, you do not want to be going through college without some form of like tracker. I don't even know, you guys can do whatever you want, but just the point is you need to keep track of everything that you have due, of everything that's coming up. So for example, I personally use a bullet journal, and if you do not know what that is, I will link my video. Basically, I draw my own agenda because I haven't really found an agenda that has all the space that I need. If there's one tip I can give you in no matter what form of organization you would like to do, is basically to color coordinate each class. That's like super easy. You choose orange for math, you choose green for your kinesiology class, you choose this for that and this for that, and when you look at your calendar, you know exactly what it's for. I think it'll help kind of organize and see how many things you have on one certain day of how many different subjects. And that's basically like the biggest tip from the get an agenda tip. All right, so this next one is basically if you are one of the lucky few who gets financial aid and then gets like some leftover money, my tip for you is to take care of school expenses first. For example, books, parking permits, school supplies, anything you need school related, use the money for that first, because that's what it's for. Because who knows, if you spend all that money and then you're like, holy crap, I do not have $200 to pay for a parking permit. You know what I mean? So always take care of those little expenses first, because girl, they will add up. This is my last tip. If you know that you cannot study or do homework or focus at your home, apartment, dorm, whatever, go to the library to study, because everybody else in there is studying for the most part. For me, it's totally a different environment than from being at home. Of course, I have my desk at home, and of course, every once in a blue moon, I am able to study here at home. But if I'm already at school and I know I need to get something done and it's super important for me, and I know that I'll kind of slack off at home, we'll just stay at school, because just being at school, my productivity level like soars like 3,000%. You don't really have much to distract you. You can't get up and go to the kitchen and make yourself a sandwich because you're bored. You can't go and turn on the TV. You can't lay down for a few minutes, that turns into hours, and watch YouTube videos or be on Instagram. You know what I mean? There's so many distractions at home, and you don't want that, especially when you have something really critical. Your best bet, just stay at the library. So that was my last tip. I don't know if they were all over the place, but I kind of just wrote them as they came to my mind. So this was just like my basic kind of college tips. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys got something from it. I hope that my experiences and my tips helped you out in your college experience. So yeah, school's about to start. I'm gonna enter in 2.5 weeks. I'm actually pretty excited to go back. Like, I guess maybe because it's my last year, but the classes I'm taking this year and my schedule, like, I'm super excited to go back. Thank you guys as always for watching me and supporting me. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say, so once again thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Computer, my camera's heating up. School expenses first, okay? I've been just so hand movement today, huh?
Boom boom, gotta get that boom boom boom, gotta get that boom boom boom, gotta get that boom boom boom, gotta get that